There is definitely no lack of shooters in virtual reality, they kinda go hand in hand. That being said, there's two that stand out, Pavlov and Onward. And today, we're gonna be taking a look at a third game that definitely deserves to be one of the greats, and that's Contractors. Welcome to VR Visionaries episode 3, it's Cruiserbase here, and as you know in this series, we like to take a deep dive into the game and then talk to the creative minds behind it. The developers at Caveman Studio, the creative minds behind Contractors, have given me a key to give away to one of the lucky viewers of this video. All you have to do to be eligible is to comment below with your favorite VR title and why. I'll announce the winner on Friday's video as well as contact them myself. Anyways, let's get this started and let's talk about gameplay. If I had to describe the gameplay of Contractors to you in as little words as possible, fast, fluid, fun, and focused. This game is great, and honestly, it's easily my favorite VR shooter on the market right now. I really do think it's the perfect mix of a slow and tactical military-based sim shooter and a fun and frantic, fast-paced arcade-style shooter. I was seriously impressed with how well the gun's handling Contractors considering it's still an early access title. It's probably the cleanest handling on the market, at least in my opinion, and the way the sights work makes sense and I think feel great. One of the best ideas Contractors has done is putting those white circles around your gun showing which part of the gun you can interact with. This made it so much easier to learn each gun and how to reload them and hold them properly. Simple additions like that really go a long way to make a game feel polished. Another great addition has to be the inventory management system. Like most shooters, Contractors puts the equipment on the player's body, but what really stood out to me is just how well organized and tagged and neatly spaced it all is. It really makes reloading or throwing a grenade in the middle of a gunfight a fluid experience, and that goes a long way to improving immersion when you don't have to look down to see where everything is. Speaking of immersion, I really need to compliment how well done the audio is in this game. Honestly speaking, the first time I shot a sniper rifle down the shooting range, I was in awe at how cool that sound effect of the echo going through was. The movement system can't be forgotten as well. It looks great, it feels great, and more than anything, it's got this really neat slide mechanic where you can crouch in real life while sprinting, and you just have your character slide against the floor in game. It works really nice and it's super intuitive. My overall impressions of the gameplay is that it's solid. Everything from the gun handling to the movement to the aiming down sights, reloading and inventory management, it all works so well and it's probably the best handling shooter in VR right now. Contractors currently has 4 different maps: Wildland, Downtown, Factory, and Hideout. Luckily, each of these maps seems to have a very unique aesthetic, making them stand out from one another. For example, Hideout seems to be this hidden area in a tropical rainforest, and then we have the polar opposite of that being Downtown, where you're fighting in the streets, taking cover behind cars and running into buildings to defend an objective. Now, if I had to have one gripe with this game, it's the lack of maps, but I can't be too hard on them. This is one of the newer shooters on the market, and for what it is, they're amazing maps, and I can't wait to see what else they come up with. There are currently 3 game modes, those being Control, Team Deathmatch, and Gun Game. Let's start with Control. This is the main flagship mode the game shipped with. It's a great game mode and probably the most team-oriented one. The best way for me to explain how Control works is by comparing it to Call of Duty's game type Headquarters. A data point spawns on the map and it's a race to who can go capture it first. You then gain points for how long you hold it, and the enemy team's objective is to then go and recapture it to neutralize it. Once the objective has been neutralized, it cycles around to a different area and it keeps going until the score limit is reached by either side. As I stated before, out of all the game types, this is definitely the most team-oriented, and my tip to you is to stick together. Respawn timers can be long, so you gotta make sure you work together and try and survive as long as possible, so that way you have the best chance at defending an objective and getting the most score out of it possible. Team Deathmatch is pretty self-explanatory. Your team of 5 versus another team of 5, highest kill count wins. And then it comes down to Gun Game, a classic game mode that many of you are aware of, but for those who aren't, you get a gun, every kill it cycles to the next gun on the list until you go through all of them, and that's the way to win. It's important to know that Gun Game was added through an update. That goes to show that the game is being worked on and more content is coming. Speaking of which, I will link down below to their roadmap on future content. This includes a new 5th map coming out soon, as well as a new game type called Extraction. I'm really excited to see both, and I can't wait to check them out. And while those are the game modes featured in multiplayer, there are still a few other things you can do on your own. In the main hub area, there are different activities you can do, one of them being the shooting range, where you can challenge yourself to get the high score and compete against the rest of the world through leaderboards. There's also a target practice area where you can shoot them and then bring the board forward just to see how accurate you are. There are also 2 red buttons located in the main hub area. One of them spawns AI bots that come and target you and chase you down. Really good for a warm-up before you jump into a game. The second button though is my favorite. It's much more interesting. It spawns zombies that come and chase you down and create these really eerie sounds around you. It's a lot of fun, and maybe it's a hint toward what we can expect, who knows. Either way, it's really nice to see additions like this. It does seem like it's just the developers having fun, and I'm glad they are. It's always cool to have more options available. Another feature I can't forget to mention is that this game does include a party system, so you can queue up with your buddies in the fastest manner possible. I also need to mention the arsenal of weaponry available in this game. There are tons to choose from, everything from sniper rifles to shotguns to submachine guns to rifles, even down to pistols. And that's not even including all the separate attachments that can be put on each gun. And then we have to talk about the different grenades available. You have your standard grenade, you have your smoke, your decoy, your flashbangs, and then you even have claymores. There's so much to choose from for your loadout. It was a fun experience just setting them up for me. One other choice you get to make when doing your loadout is what type of armor you take to battle. Some of them provide better defense, others will provide more mobility. Now, how do they balance the loadouts? Well, it gets balanced through a point system built into it. For example, you are allowed to carry 2 primaries. If you want a sniper and a shotgun, go for it. But you're gonna have to sacrifice either attachments, a pistol, specialized armor, or even grenades. It's really up to you and your playstyle. Anyways, now that you know a bit more about how the game plays and content included, this is VR Visionaries, and in this series we like to take a deeper dive into the developers behind the game. In this case, it's Caveman Studio. The first question asked was why did they choose to develop in VR over traditional gaming? Their reply was that the reason we pursue VR development is simply because we also are huge fans of VR games. We also love playing all kinds of VR games on our spare time. Then I decided to ask where this idea came from to create Contractors. Their reply was that the idea was also pretty simple. We love playing shooter games, so we figured a multiplayer shooter game on VR is probably a good idea. If I have to be honest, I would assume this is a key factor on why Contractors just works so well. They love playing shooting games, they love playing VR, they have an idea of what makes a good shooter and what makes a good VR game, and it really shows in the quality of title that was produced. Then I decided to ask if there was any hardships during the development of the game that they had to overcome. They replied with, the most difficult part of making this game is how to distinguish Contractors from other VR shooter games in the market. So we spent a lot of time fine-tuning the controls and handling as well as the IK system. Now, for those of you that don't know what an IK system is, pretty much imagine a system built around improving user experience in VR through animation quality by giving your body more joints that can move fluidly and look cleaner. It really does help improve user immersion when you see your teammates moving around and it looks proper. Anyhow, let's get back to the topic at hand, and the following question was, what are the future plans for the game? Is there any additional content to look forward to? With their response being that we want Contractors to be a long-lasting title in the VR shooter genre. We planned on an awesome competitive game mode and a secret work-in-progress feature that will be revealed in March. There will also be constant updates with more maps and gadgets added. I'm really curious to see what that work-in-progress feature is that they hinted at coming in March. It's always good to see that the developers have plans for upcoming content updates. Anyways, like I said earlier in the video, their roadmap will be linked below. Now, to top it all off, I asked them just to make a short clip of their message to the fans and those interested in the game. Here it is.
Is this thing on? Hello guys, we're the team behind Contractors. We just want to say thank you for all the love and support. We wish contracts can go a long way. Thanks!
Now I just want to wrap it up and give my thanks to Caveman Studio. They're a team of 4 that reside near Shanghai. They are very talented at making games, and I can't wait to see this game grow. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and hit the notification bell below to not miss any of my future videos. Other than that, I just want to remind you to like, and also don't forget to comment your favorite VR game and why. That way you can be eligible to win the key giveaway for a free copy of Contractors VR. The winner will be announced this Friday. I'll be sure to contact them personally as well as put it in the video. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and peace.